Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm Mike B, and today we're going to be doing an installment of the overpriced military surplus firearms. Now, I did a video on these in 2017. It was very popular, and I decided to make a top 10 list instead this time because I did top 5 before. I think given the current situation of the military surplus firearm market, it's safe to do a top 10 list. And I just want to preface this by saying I think the surplus market's pretty much over. Like for what it was. It was designed and popular among a certain group of people because it was cheap, affordable, it had historic value, and people hadn't latched onto the idea of having an old piece of junk, rifle, which they're actually really good, until after 2012 and around the beginning of 2013 when there was proposed just talks of gun legislation being put through, and then people went panicked and bought all the AR-15s, all the tactical stuff, and then we're like, oh, we need guns, we need guns, we need guns. And they discovered that, oh, that surplus gun that everybody says is a piece of crap is actually a really good firearm. And that got super popular, and collectors, bought up 10, 15 of a certain kind of firearm and then sold it, at a huge markup, which, okay, good for you, capitalism, but that's the reason why the market has been stale and pretty much it's over. Whatever you've got, you've got. Everything's on the secondary market now, and it's very expensive because of the intrinsic collector's value. So that's why I'm gonna do this video, because if you're going to get into military surplus this late in the game, you're probably gonna want to look for a better deal on these commonly overpriced firearms. So without further ado, I apologize for the intro, but I kind of needed to clarify that because there's been a lot of confusion, people getting angry and stuff. So that's what it is. That's why I'm doing this video. It's not to go out and promote the sale of these. It's actually to do the opposite. So we're going to start out this one with the Lee Enfield number 4 Mark 1 and the number 1 Mark 3, which I don't currently have. Both of these have become insanely expensive over the past couple years. You're looking at $450 to $500 for a low-end one. They're just not worth that. Like there's a lot of modern rifles that you can get for the same price that are a lot better. And yeah, the ammo is a lot easier to get than the 303 cartridge, and I don't know, I just don't think they're worth $500. Back when they were $150, $200, yeah, absolutely worth it. Nowadays, just not worth it. So here's our number 10 pick. Coming in at number 9, we've got the US model 1903 rifle, commonly referred to as the Springfield, but that was just one manufacturer of it. So these have gone up so much in the past few years. When I started getting into this, a 1903 or an 03A3 variant could be had for like between $500 and $700 depending on condition. And I thought that was pretty pricey then, considering you could get other rifles that were very similar for a lot less. Now these are at least $1,000, like minimum $1,000 for like a re-arsenal refurbished one. And something like this, you're looking at $1,500 to $1,700. Like that's insane how much that's gone up. You can get 2 or 3 model 700, Remington model 700s or Winchester model 70s for that with optics. And you can have 3 guns for the price of 1, So again, I know all these guns are going to be collectible, but it's just not worth that much. So I'd steer clear of a 1903, even though you might want one. You'd be very disappointed in the fact that you paid $1,500 for a bolt-action rifle that is very overpriced. So that's our number 9. We got the Czechoslovakian VZ24 Mauser rifle. Now, I think this is probably one of my favorite Mauser variants, if not my favorite 8mm version. Very smooth, very accurate, very reliable. Czechoslovakian firearms are very good quality. A lot of these were sent to Romania and other countries. Back in the day, you could get one of these for, $175. And I'm not one of these people that, I'm not going to pay this year's prices because I'm living in the past. I understand inflation, collectability, supply and demand. I'm just saying that the rate at which this increased in value was extremely fast, and I don't understand why exactly. There's tons of these great rifles, but they went from about $175 to $200. They're now like $500 minimum. I'm seeing these actually selling for that now. They're not worth that much money. You'll find out if you can get a good deal for like $300, go for it, but don't pay anything more than that for this one. Number 7 on our list is any German manufactured KAR-98K, the style that was used from 1936 to 1945. So these have always been pretty popular, but they have not been super pricey, which was kind of cool because you could have an affordable piece of World War II German history that you could actually kill deer with, which I have with this. That's the main reason, surplus, again, I'll just reiterate, it was a fun game, is because everything was cheap, it had historic value, but it was affordable and just kind of cool to have. And now it's gotten to the point where you're going to be paying for a beat up K98 $500. And it's like, I would not recommend paying over $500 for like a used beat up, like this example right here. It's just simply not worth it. There's so many of them, and it's just people being, trying to get the top dollar, which is fine. But again, if people don't pay the top dollar, the prices are going to have to come down. So again, this is number 7 on our list, any German manufactured KAR 98. Simply not worth what people are asking. You thought I was going to stick with all rifles, didn't you? Well, coming in at number 6 is actually the 1895 Nagant revolver. And most of these are going to be in this refurbished re-arsenal condition like this one. Yeah, not so long ago, it was right before that whole panic thing that I told you about in 2013. Sorry about the camera being kind of shaky. These were going for $100 and they were everywhere. And obviously there was millions of these things made from 1895 to 1945. So obviously there's tons of these. And then all of a sudden, after that little incident, these are sold out everywhere, and they've been climbing steadily. I'm seeing these go for $300 to $500 just for a refurbished one like this, a non-collectible, just whatever, a little workhorse, right? These things are not the best guns in the world. They fire a really hard to find cartridge, right? Surplus is basically gone for that, and the commercial stuff, it's not really easy to reload. It's an obscure caliber. We'll just leave it at that. And they're really hard to reload. They're really hard to, they're accurate little guns, but you get 7 shots. They're really hard to reload, super slow. And people are wanting $350+ for these things. And I don't understand that. Like, first of all, I get the fact that they're cool, okay? And they're military surplus firearms. But again, why would you be asking that much for this gun? And why would you be paying that much for this gun? If you're paying over $200 for one of these, you are probably paying too much. So if you can get one for under $200, go for it. But other than that, I'd do a hard pass on that. Sorry I ranted on this one, but yeah, this is one that really kind of blows my mind. So here we go. Well, this little guy looks familiar. This is on my 2017 video as well. We've got the M1 carbine. This really hasn't gone up that much in value from 2017 when I made the other video, but it still is going to make the list as being super overpriced for what it is. Again, millions of these were made. I know we sold them to other countries and stuff, but millions of these were made. Everybody's got one, and for some reason they're like over $1,000, and I don't understand that. Like, it's a cool little gun. It's like the AR-15 of the 1960s. Everybody had one. Everybody thought they were cool. Everybody, hunted with one, used one, shot sport with them. Really cool little gun. And I get that they're neat, but $1,000 for an M1 carbine? Give me a break. Like, I just don't understand that. It's not that great of a gun. Like, I don't know. The collector's value, sure, but I know it's a repeat, but you know what? This thing's always going to make the list. So just expect it on these videos. I got the US M1 carbine. Coming in 4th place. Wow, weird. Another Mauser rifle. The Gewehr 98. We're talking the German ones, even the ones with Turkish markings that were re-arsenal that are exactly the same, just with new stamps. These have gone up. This is one of the biggest spikes I've seen in the gun collecting community in the past couple years. So the Gewehr 98s could be had for $400 or $500 for many years, right? Even after the gun scare and everything. $400 to $500 for a shootable example like this is not really out of the question. Now, after the game Battlefield 1 comes out, I don't think that had everything to do with it. I think it was just World War I in general. Like, people were like, oh, it's 100 years ago. I need to get every gun from that war. And people realized that these things were affordable and they're really cool and nice. Now, if you can find one for sale, it's $1,000. It doubled in price in a little over a year, so I don't understand how that works. Like, and people are paying that, which is the problem. Great rifles, really cool, not worth that much money. Holy crap, we've got another pistol. Coming in at number 3 very solidly, this will probably make the list if I continue doing top 10s on this every couple of years. The P08 Luger. Again, in World War I, these really weren't valued by U.S. troops, and then for some reason in World War II, people just absolutely went crazy for them, and then they're just getting super expensive ever since then. So as far as a price point, if you want to get a good 9mm handgun that fires 8 rounds, get something else. Go get a Star Model BM for $200 or something like that. This is a really weird pistol. The magazines are super expensive. The parts are super expensive. These are super expensive. They're one of the most collectible pistols in the world, and I don't understand why. Like, the Germans, it's a unique looking pistol, but there's other unique looking pistols that are not this expensive. This is like a baseline model, and it's like $900 or $1,000 for this handgun. I don't get it. It's very overpriced for what it is, except for the hype. It's like these fanboys, you know? So these are so expensive. Unless you get a really killer good deal on one of these, hard pass. Holy crap, we meet again. You got the nugget, that was 30. The nugget, the Nagant, whatever the hell. It's a Mosin Nagant 9130, right? Sorry about that. It just, God, people. Anyway, this is one that I don't get. Like, I understand that there's an import ban on Russia, but there was one before too. We weren't even getting them from Russia. We were getting them from Ukraine. And then when Russia decided to go on a little vacation in Crimea, the Ukrainians said, "Oh, well, we're going to stop exporting these because we might need these." So that's what's going on with these. And the problem is, I think they'll be imported again, but the issue is because people are just, demanding these things because people discovered that they're not bad rifles after, 2013, and they're all sold out, and, it's like the supply and demand thing. I get that, but you just got to be patient, okay? They'll come back in the country, but unfortunately, because people have been paying $350 for an average refurbished rifle, that's what the going rate's going to be, and if you keep paying that, they're not going to get any cheaper. Here's how supply and demand works. The retailer will ask a price. Nobody will buy it at that asking price. They are forced to lower that price. Therefore, the wholesaler or importer that they got it from is going to be forced to lower their price. That's how it works. That's the eventual goal. I don't see it happening because people are just going to be like, "Oh, I want that. I'm going to pay $400 for a rifle that could easily be $100 to $200 like consistently." So that's why I gripe about this, and it's an okay rifle. They work, but nowhere are they worth $350 that, some companies are asking for just crapped out versions of them. So yeah, just try to be patient on these and try to just hold off. There's so many of these in the world, and I'm pretty sure if people start just, buying modern firearms instead for a while, that the price of these will eventually have to come down. Here's to hoping. Yeah, here's our number one pick for 2019. And there's a little story about why this is so stupidly expensive now. So we got the U.S. rifle caliber 30 M1, or the M1 Garand it's called, or Garand, however the hell you pronounce it. So these are great rifles. They're cool. They were outdated by the 1950s or at the advent of the AK-47. But they're neat. They're fun to have. They're accurate. They're somewhat reliable. They're very heavy, and they're a cool piece of U.S. history. They're not $1,500 for an entry-level example cool, though. And what happened was the civilian marksmanship program got a batch of these. I don't know where they're getting them from, the Philippines or somewhere, some other country that we sold or lent these to. And you get these people that go through all the hoops, which is kind of a pain in the ass to get into the CMP, to be able to buy their stuff. And they bought 5 and 10 of these rifles at the same time and immediately flipped them for an insane amount of money because they're not on the market now. Yeah, well, all that did was just drive the price up from about, $600 to $1,200 for an average, depending on manufacturer or whatever, to at least $1,500 or $1,600, which is what they're going for now. Good God, people, come on. You got, CMP got really angry about that, and they said if they find anybody doing that, they're going to be barred from purchasing. Good. Fuck those guys. That's the reason why the entire surplus market is bad. And yeah, I get it, capitalism. But here's the thing. Don't pay what they're asking, and then this won't be an issue. Like, again, the whole point of this video is not to say, and not just to bitch, it's like, take action. Stop buying these. I've stopped buying surplus firearms. Like, I've done my part. I've just stopped buying them because it's not worth it anymore. Hopefully, if more people kind of join me in this crusade, the price of the M1 might come down because people will say, well, I don't need 10 of these guns. I don't want to move them around or whatever. And I'm not getting the exuberant amount that I'm asking for this, so maybe I'll drop the price. That's the kind of goal, wishful thinking. But again, these guns are all so much more expensive than what they're actually kind of worth, and the normal inflation and whatever. And these are the top 10 examples of like the worst that have jumped in the past, 5-6 years or even less. And there's really no reason for it. It's just like speculators, right? Wall Street speculators. All you're doing when you pay, an asinine amount of money just because you want one of these and you think they're not going to be available is you just increase the cost of oil. That's what you do. So I'm not blaming anybody specifically because, I've overpaid for guns before, but, I tried to do research and, kind of not do that. And that's what I'm trying to help you guys with. So all these guns in this video, it's not like I'm saying don't buy this and telling you what to do or what not to do. I'm suggesting that if you want to see the prices come down eventually, you're going to have to take a little break for a while and start, getting some ARs and new made AKs and Glocks and stuff like that, Sig Sauer. start experimenting with new firearms that are the same price that are actually, you know, you can go out and beat them up because they don't have collector value. You know, it's not like you're going to be nursing these things because, oh, it might go up. It's like a stock. It might go up to $1,000 tomorrow and I only paid $200 for it. Yeah, it's weird. So yeah, just I'm doing that too. I'm taking a break. I'm getting mostly modern firearms now. And if I do get firearms, so yeah, I implore you to kind of take that jump and that risk with me. And guess what? The worst thing is you don't have a bunch of surplus guns that you have to get ammo for. And you've got a bunch of modern guns. So that's kind of my point. You can agree or disagree with it. I honestly don't give a shit. I appreciate you watching the video. If you haven't already and you've made it this far, subscribe to my channel and hit the like button on here and the notification bell. I appreciate you making it through this grueling top 10 list. I tried to keep it as short as possible. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and consider supporting my channel. Links to do that are in the description. And have a good one.